of both sides continuing to launch missiles at each other, although there has been a noticeable decline in the number of Iranian attacks, but certainly at least 2 or 3 attempted salvos overnight.
Explosions over Tel Aviv. Drone swarms over Isfahan. What we feared for decades is now happening. Iran and Israel are no longer fighting through proxies, they're directly striking each other. But this war didn't start in 2024. The roots go back over 70 years, with secret alliances, betrayals, and covert ops hidden from the public eye. This isn't just about nuclear weapons or ideology. It's a war of survival, revenge, and control over the Middle East. And the deeper you dig, the more disturbing the truth becomes. Iran and Israel, two powerful nations in the Middle East, entangled in decades of hostility. But what if I told you once upon a time they were strategic partners? This is not just a story about nuclear fears or religious ideology. It's about secrets, shifting alliances, and global chess. In the 1950s through the 70s, under Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, Iran and Israel were quiet partners. Israel helped Iran develop agriculture, technology, and even military infrastructure. Conspiracy alert. During the Yom Kippur War in 1973, Iran secretly supplied Israel with oil, despite global outrage. Why? Shared fear of Arab nationalism and Soviet influence. But everything flipped in 1979. The Iranian Revolution brought Ayatollah Khomeini to power. His first move? Declare Israel a cancerous tumor on the Muslim world. Untold story. Mossad reportedly tried to smuggle Jewish families out of Iran, fearing executions and retaliation. The new Islamic regime began funding anti-Israel groups like Hezbollah and later Hamas. Strangely, during the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, Israel still sold arms to Iran through Operation Seashell, funneling weapons via third-party nations like Nicaragua. Why? Because Saddam Hussein was seen as a greater threat. And yes, this happened even while the US publicly supported Iraq. This is the same era as the Iran-Contra affair, and Israel was the middleman. Iran couldn't fight Israel directly, but it could fund proxy militias. Hezbollah in Lebanon, with Iranian funding, launched guerrilla attacks and rockets into Israel. Israel responded with devastating wars in Lebanon, most recently in 2006. And in Gaza, Iran began arming Hamas, fueling one of the world's most unstable regions. The 2010s marked a new kind of warfare, cyber. The Stuxnet virus, believed to be built by the US and Israel, crippled Iran's nuclear centrifuges. In return, Iranian hackers targeted Israeli infrastructure and banks. Mossad is accused of assassinating at least 6 Iranian nuclear scientists since 2010. But here's the kicker. One of them was reportedly killed by a remote-controlled machine gun, AI-triggered. In 2018, the US exited the Iran nuclear deal under Trump, aligning even more closely with Israel. The Abraham Accords brought Arab states like UAE and Bahrain into peaceful relations with Israel, isolating Iran further. Conspiracy theory. Some believe these pacts are not about peace, but about preparing for a joint strike against Iran's nuclear facilities. So here we are in 2025. Iran and Israel don't share borders, but they're one wrong move from open war. What do you believe? Is this conflict fueled by ideology or international manipulation? Type truth in the comments if you made it this far, and let's open more eyes to the story behind the story.